I'm here again with Peter Boyce, who's an associate with General Catalyst Partners, one of the top VC firms on the street, and he's also the co-founder of Rough Draft Ventures. What are some of the trends that you're seeing today? I mean, we've got your Twitters and your Instagrams out there, and all that sort of stuff. But what are some of the other innovative technologies that you are seeing that we may not know about?
So one kind of like a key trend that we've been a part of and have seen evolved over the past number of years is like this notion of kind of collaborative consumption and understanding like what, we think of them as next-gen online marketplaces. So, these are the Airbnbs of the world. And then I think increasingly there's a lot of interest and excitement around, experiences that basically are around kind of like on-demand services. So there's almost like this new notion of kind of consumer services that you can access at any given time. And so Uber being an example of that. Our portfolio company Handybook being an example of that as well. So, you can look at your phone and in 2 seconds you can book any kind of cleaning service or maid service or home repair service. I think something that's getting the proper focus as it should, but I think could have even more focus is what's going on mobile. Especially mobile commerce and creation. So, the way these, whether it's Android or any of these kind of like mobile devices, the ability to transact and to be able to kind of like, whether it's, sell a product or buy a product, I think the evolution outside of the app stores is going to be very interesting. And also creativity. I think, these tablets are a fantastic form factor for creating things, whether that's sketches, drawing, notes, and so seeing, increasingly the tablet and the phone being the creation tools and the utility tools for any type of workers. We're very excited to see products there, and that also touches on an area that we're very interested in around the future of work. So trying to think through just how are our jobs changing, how are our offices changing, how are all those needs changing. You've got the ability to create software from any coffee shop in the world. How does that change the way companies are created? How does that change the need to communicate across distributed teams? When you've got a team in Iceland, you've got a team in Miami, you've got a team in San Francisco. So that's a key trend for us to try to think through just what kind of software, tools, and services are we going to need for the workforce over the next 5-10 years?
What about cybersecurity? I mean, do you guys look at companies like that, or do you have concerns about that going forward?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's at the top of mind of our CTOs and CIOs of our portfolio companies. We're also very lucky to have some of the best security and infrastructure investors in the world. We've got Steve Harrod out on the West Coast, who is the CTO of VMware. So there are a few folks that have managed as large of engineering teams and security teams as he has, and it's something that's been kind of like front of mind for us. We've got investments in the space as well, whether it's Ping Identity. And I think it's something that we're increasingly seeing a lot of enterprise activity around, and also increasingly consumer. Whether it's companies like Authy, which basically lets you help do two-factor authentication, so that in the event someone does have your password, you get a text message on your phone that you basically need to confirm. Much harder to break, a much harder system to break on the consumer side. So, it's an area that we actively cover, and it's part of the reason why we not only do consumer investing, but we also do a good amount of enterprise investing.
In terms of, you're an entrepreneur at heart, no question about it. And now you're on the venture capital side, investing in these companies. Have any of the partners ever gone from being on the VC side and then going back into creating a new company?
Yeah, 100%. There's a total back and forth. I think about it. There are a few different kind of categories. So you can go from startups into venture. You can go from the finance world into venture. You can go from VC into any of those worlds. A lot of folks, especially junior folks, will either go into business school or come out of business school to join the industry as well. What's great about our firm is, GC was kind of like founded on this notion of like entrepreneurs investing in entrepreneurs. So what's great is, at GC we have a culture of, hatching businesses. So literally starting a company, in our office. So Kayak got started that way in our Cambridge office. And so I think there's like a lot of like room to really use this place as a platform for starting our own businesses if we wanted to do that, or even to join a portfolio company.
Got you. I know you love all your partners that work at General Catalyst, but who are some of the other luminaries out there that you got huge respect for?
I think you've got to pay homage to Fred Wilson here in New York. I think what he's done around content and creating a thesis-focused venture firm. I think that's something that we're all excited about and thankful for. And I think he's done a lot to elevate the New York City ecosystem, even in times when this was not the most interesting place to be and to focus, and there were a lot of naysayers. So I thank him for that. I think their teams out on the West Coast, whether it's the folks over at Benchmark and Index that we think do phenomenal work and do really exciting jobs. I'm really intrigued and excited by what's going on in the micro VC landscape as well. So this, creating, $40, $50 million funds, small group of partners and being very involved with their portfolio companies. I think it's a fantastic model. Entrepreneurs turn VCs like Rob Go, who runs a fund called Next View Ventures, I think is doing fantastic work. I've always been a huge fan and been very inspired by Chris Sacca, who runs a fund called Lowercase Capital. I think the work he did with Twitter and other companies is just fantastically inspiring. To be a part of so many different stories like Twitter and Uber. I think that's the sign of someone who's doing really amazing work, and that's inspired me and got me really excited. I could go on for a whole list. These are all, fantastic collaborators, mentors, friends, peers in the industry. And I think what's great is, I think there's an increasing number of forums for us to spend time with each other, whether that's creating content, reading each other's blog posts. And what New York has done fantastically well, as well as other areas, is just getting folks together. The folks from First Mark, Lair, RRE, General Catalyst, getting us all in a room. It's never been easier in a lot of ways. So that's been fantastic.
Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on getting an MBA today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's it's definitely something I've thought about, and a lot of folks have kind of encouraged me to explore it. Because a lot of folks from venture then go and get their MBAs and then explore operating roles or getting back into venture. I've been lucky to see a number of friends pursue that as an option. I think for me, I almost feel like I'm getting my MBA kind of like on the go right now in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of the programs are fantastically powerful especially for helping folks understand, how do you take a company from 50 to 100 people, 200 people, internationally. So that kind of like management skill is not easy to necessarily do if you've never run a company of that size before. So I think it's an interesting either kind of like a complement or a supplement for someone that operates a company. But I think for myself, I think being in venture, you get to see early stage entrepreneurs go through those different phases and go through those different steps, and so I almost feel like I've gotten a kind of a taste of it.
Okay, Peter. So last question: you're talking to the graduating class at Harvard. What sort of advice would you give young people today?
Absolutely. Well, I would definitely encourage folks that if they've ever thought about entrepreneurship or building a company or getting involved with technology, that there's never been a better time to. There are amazing resources to do that. I think there's a whole new almost economy emerging from folks that are taking advantage of software tools to build companies and build solutions to a lot of pre-existing problems and creating a lot of opportunity. So I would definitely encourage that. Two, I would encourage everyone to think of computer science almost in the same way they thought about foreign languages beforehand. Not everyone needs to be an expert. You don't need to be fluent in French, but having kind of like the competency to the ability to navigate some of the conversations. I think increasingly our world is gonna demand that. So I would pay close mind to that. And three, I would say just try to make sure that whatever you do, like you're passionate about it and you're having fun doing it. I think that's something that's just so key. And when that's the dynamic, anything is possible in a lot of ways. And it's very easy to kind of get pushed into a role or kind of like communicated, hey, you should check this thing out, you should check out this industry. Just do things that you're really passionate and excited about. So if you were, insanely enthusiastic about art and art history, like find a place for which you can leverage that learning and leverage that excitement, and to not, not take no for an answer, and to not second guess yourself if you want to pursue things like that.
Peter, cannot thank you enough for your time. Really, really appreciate it. You've been incredibly successful at a very young age.
Working on that.
And I wish you continued success.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Skitty.
You bet.